Hi, I'm Stacey Moore. Welcome to the Blake High School Spotlight. Philip Johnson, architect of the Lincoln Center for the Performing Arts, once said, "You shouldn't talk about art, you should do it." We at Blake High School couldn't agree more. Our students in the arts are constantly finding new and creative ways to express themselves. Sometimes it's by working together on a class project, like our new ceramic mural, which we'll visit later in the show. Students also find opportunities at Blake to pursue their individual passion for the arts. For senior Jason Marshall, that passion is the world of jazz music.
Hi, my name is Jason Marshall. I'm a senior at Blake High School, and I'm a baritone saxophonist. I was drawn to the saxophone through a demonstration that was done at my school when I was in 3rd or 4th grade. I've been playing almost 10 years. I enjoy music. It gives me a feeling of satisfaction and certainly peace for the most part. There are times when music is very upsetting because it's a very taxing art form, especially jazz, because you know that there isn't a plateau, so to speak, to reach. There is only what you can see. There's only what you can think you might be able to do. There isn't so much a point where you know you're the best, period. I practice not enough, certainly. I play much more than I practice. I practice about an hour a day. I play 4 to 5 hours a day when I can. Some days I can play 10 minutes. Some days I can play 8 hours. But generally, it's around between 2 and 4 hours. I play every week in a church. And I actually play alto. I'm actually a baritonist. But I play alto in the church every week. And that's a Living Word Christian Center in D.C. I play pretty regularly at Barnes & Noble and different private functions and so forth. And playing at Barnes & Noble is nice because there's not a whole lot of expectations to meet. It's very informal, pretty intimate as far as the setting and everything. I played there with a quartet and a quintet, and we just recently recorded a CD at their Rockville location. The people at Barnes & Noble that I played with were Jeff Miklaszewski on drums, Ryan Mead on vibes. Jamie Salzman on bass. I just think Barnes & Noble and even other bookstores do a great service to music just because they allow it to be heard in its original context as opposed to, marketed, and produce and overproduce and so forth. It gets lost in the shuffle. So it's good where you can have acoustic music, not necessarily just jazz, but just acoustic music that's honest and straightforward. We get a lot of positive feedback from the audience, mainly because it's not something you see every day. I mean, you know, most people don't honestly know what a baritone saxophone is. And so in playing, you also do a lot of educating. And it may be inadvertent, but you do a lot of that. County Jazz is cool because it, for all intents and purposes, guarantees that everyone there is as motivated and interested in jazz as everyone else. As with any other group that requires an audition, there have been politics involved, and sometimes it's a little bit annoying, but once everybody's selected, it helps because it's an outlet. I mean, when you play with a school band, the only requirement is that you sign up for it. And so that doesn't necessarily guarantee everybody's motivation. And with county band, you at least know, if nothing else, that everybody wants to be there. And I think that is, I think the motivation for the group is also helped by the idea that there are a lot of other people who would like to be in it and aren't. So everyone who is has to keep a certain level of playing, to remain in. I am an intern at Jazz Times magazine, which has turned out to be quite a blessing just because of the contacts that I am able to make there and the exposure to jazz, as well as working in a magazine. I am pretty lucky because, although it is a business, the atmosphere for the most part is pretty casual. Nobody wears suits and ties to work. Everybody just comes as they are, and I think it helps because it allows people to concentrate on getting the product out as opposed to what they're wearing or what they're not wearing. My biggest fan is probably my dad, and that is because he enjoys the idea of, although his son is in an environment where he could be led astray very quickly, he is doing something productive. My mother's also quite a fan, my grandparents, aunts, uncles, and so forth. And actually, my girlfriend is quite a fan also, but she tends to get rather protective when it comes to doing interviews and so forth. So she helps out quite a bit. And of course, the students here are a great help because they support jazz and live music anyway. So they also give quite a bit of encouragement. Blake High School has helped me out immensely because I get support from the faculty, the students. The facilities here are amazing. So whenever I need access to something, if I'm not at home, I can still get to the internet here. The library here has a wonderful CD collection. It has different books on music and music theory and so forth, and videos even, But Blake and the faculty here have been very generous and very supportive. For those who wish to pursue a career in music and jazz, namely, I would say practice as much as you can. If you're serious about wanting to play jazz as a career, understand that there's no guaranteed monetary compensation or support. You will probably have to teach, you know, and do clinics and so forth. And you might even have to get what's called, you know, what most people call a day job to do music. Because music may or may not sustain a lifestyle depending on where you are and how much work you put in. And, you know, the way of the world is you reap what you sow. And so if you sow seeds of practice and diligence, then you will get back positive things. But if you sow seeds of half-done work and a fraction of concentration rather than all of your concentration and all of yourself, really, then that's what you'll get out.
And on this big ugly piece of metal, I'm Jason Marshall.
Jason is just one of the many Blake students whose art and life are closely connected. That same connection extends to everyone in the school when students share their performance or project. The ceramic class has created a new addition to the Blake Artscape, which you'll find right this way.
Hi, I'm Alex Michaels. I'm the Fine Arts Resource Teacher at Blake High School. I also teach many different art subjects. Last year I taught ceramics and sculpture, and I was very privileged to work with a ceramic muralist by the name of Jane Larson. With my ceramics and sculpture class, we were able to make a mural which is now permanently on display at Blake High School out of clay. The students took a field trip to the University of Maryland Chemistry Building to see a mural that Jane Larson had already done, which is mounted in the lobby of the Chemistry Building in College Park, and it gave the students a great idea of what the final would look like. The students learned how to make tiles in the very beginning when Miss Larson started working with them. They learned the art of making a ceramic tile and embedding objects into the clay. Once they mastered that skill, then we rolled out huge slabs of clay for the mural, and they embedded not only objects from nature, but they created silhouettes of themselves. The photography teacher took photographs of each student. Those photographs were then turned into silhouettes. Those silhouettes were glued onto cardboard and impressed into the clay. So instead of a signature, the students have their silhouettes embedded in the mural as a permanent mark, like a signature but not a signature. And it's a really nice way to show that the students were part of this project. The first firing, it's called a bisque firing. After that, the students learned how to use underglazes, which are the colors that you see in the mural. And the underglazes were painted on, a clear glaze was applied on top of that, and then the tiles were fired a second time. And in the second firing is when you get that glossy effect. The glaze only goes on the images. The rest of the clay was left bare. The mural will last a lot longer than this building will. Clay, once it's been fired, is a permanent material that will last for thousands and thousands of years. Miss Larson says the mural will be here long after the school is gone.
Jason Marshall and members of the ceramics class are in our spotlight because they're doing their art, and we're all talking about it. Join us next time as we focus on students and events that bring the arts alive for Blake High School.
My name is RJ Mitchell. I'm a senior here at Blake, and one of my hobbies is drawing. I draw because it gives me peace of mind and it helps me cope with the everyday stresses of life, school, work, family, things like that. Most of my pictures are just one big sketch that I clean up. So I'll draw it and I'll have like the rough ends and edges all messed up, and then after I'm done with the basic shape and the basic look, I will clean it up with like erasers. I'll ink it with pens. Some of my signature techniques that I use in my drawings are mostly from anime. I draw like the big eyes, usually with like the female characters that I make. I will leave out some details. I won't add in all the muscles, or I won't draw in every single detail. I have a more of anime style. Being at Blake has lifted my drawing ability to the next level. I've learned so many new techniques of drawing, more classical techniques like cross-hatching, which I use to help me with shadows, and I've learned how to properly light subjects and pictures so it looks more 3D and more realistic. I really like Blake because the school has exposed me to the different types of arts, like the music production, web design, digital art, graphic design. I even got into TV production. It's really exposed me to what's out there in the art world. To the new people at Blake, future classes and generations, the only real advice I have for you is whatever type of art you are doing, keep at it. Practice all the time. Try to raise your level more and more, because if you're really serious about it, if it's special to you, you can be successful with it.